We need to provide a safe and supportive place for parents that they feel that they are able to contribute and participate, and that their voices and perspectives are being acknowledged. Active listening, not just listening to a parent and already thinking about how we're going to respond. And we've all been there. Like I've been there, but checking case managers, checking other folks, checking ourselves is the number one thing. Slowing it down. Sometimes we don't allocate enough time in a meeting to get everything done. We can't get through goals and services in 10 minutes. That is when we have to go, okay, you know what? We need to regroup. And that's okay. It's a super inconvenience for all of us, and the parent may not want to stop the meeting without a resolution, but we wouldn't be doing our due diligence to students if we sped through the most important part of the IEP process in the last 5 minutes. So that's when school staff hate me the most. And I'm like, you know what? We got 5 more minutes. Like, no, we're not going to be able to talk about speech, occupational therapy, resource time, adaptive PE in the last 5 minutes. We got to come back. And this is part of changing what that dominant discourse is. Like when Dr. Gray asked us before, like, what's one thing that you think of when you think of dominant discourse? The first thing that popped into my head is how many times I've heard people say, including myself, when I was not as reflective as I am now, they can't make the meetings, they don't care about their kids. That's a really harmful way to look at how we work with parents. So, whose knowledge is legitimate? We have the IEP, the school-based members of the IEP team, and the parent is part of the IEP team. So I'm very, very clearly, I'm like, okay, school-based team members. If I say, okay, IEP team, let's do this and this, I'm excluding the parent from that team. If I name specifically who I'm talking about, that is language that I'm proactively using to kind of reshape who we consider part of the team. And then, so here are some of like the most like salient quotes from my research about how parents view adversarial situations in an IEP process. It's the 2 of us versus the 9 of them sort of thing. Whatever the authority will tell us, we will just follow. We're not very vocal. We don't know how the system works because we're immigrants basically. I'm always on my guard now because I feel like the school is waiting for me to slip. Are we adversaries? Are we really working together? I don't really know. So I think about your example with your son's IEP accommodations not being put into place. You didn't let them slip. When they slipped, you called them out on it. We shouldn't be slipping. Like, we can't get lazy for our kids with disabilities and our kids with IEPs and 504s. And it's the work. So just thinking about like, how do we perpetuate that dominant discourse? How do we perpetuate the decentering of familial knowledge? And then what are the implications of parent participation if we're coming in with such a narrow mindset? Are we expecting parents to speak up or disagree with us? How do we react when a parent disagrees with what someone says? Like, what's our reaction to